Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
A lot of the times when it comes to healing, many of us think external, how I'm eating, how I'm exercising, all of this stuff. Just so many other things that I would dig into because people would expect to just be like, here's a plant for an ill mentality. And I was like, that's no different than the pill for an ill mentality. I want to get to the root cause, right? And I realized a lot of the times the root cause was not just what you're putting into your body, it was so much more than that.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Looking for an inspiring read? Everyday Magic is a book that teaches mindfulness through ritual and gratitude practices that can be done every day at any age. Purchase your copy today on Amazon.
Hi, Tania. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me, Marta.
Yes, I'm excited to learn more about you and how you're supporting people out there with your business. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my brand is known as Tania the Herbalist. My full name is Tania Khazaal. And what I really do is I help women, what I like to say is become the CEO of their life, right? We have so many women that are, they're either struggling to get their business going and if it is, they're struggling with balancing motherhood and marriage and all of those things. And so, or vice versa, right? Like I'm juggling everything at home, but I've got a purpose and I don't even know how to do that. What do I do? And so when I came up with this, I just said, I need to help women do all of that because that's naturally what I've done in all of the coaching and health coaching to business coaching. It's about how do I really have it all? Because I do believe that you can. I believe that you don't have to sacrifice one over the other. You don't have to sacrifice purpose for, motherhood for business, all of the stuff. So
that's wonderful. I love that you help women with that because the whole elusive balancing act is tricky for sure when we have so many passions and so many responsibilities. Now, I love learning more about the backstory because you said you worked in health as well. How did you get into this? Tell us more.
Yeah, so when I became Tania the Herbalist, to be honest with you, I didn't even know herbalism was a thing. I actually watched my mom on her deathbed from too many pharmaceuticals. And I'm talking about like narcotics, not just a regular medication. And I get a lot of my drive and my ambition and all that from her. So to see that person on their deathbed, it broke me down, essentially. I hit a really dark point and I took time off work when I was at the peak of the corporate executive level and all of the things. And I took time off work and I said, I needed to meditate. I need to ground myself. I need to kind of get out of my head. I was like having full-blown panic attacks, anxiety, all of the stuff. And it's like I had an aha moment that told me, okay, there must be something natural that I can do for her. Like I refuse to accept that this is just going to kill her off and that's the end of it. And so I went pen to paper and I started to learn about medicinal herbs as much as I can and learning about the nervous system because that's what her condition is. And she became my guinea pig. She's like, I have nothing to lose. I'll become your guinea pig. And she did. And Marta, she got off of her medications, her narcotics after being on it for a decade. Even the doctors like, there's no way. And they were doing like urine tests and everything. And they're like, how did you do it? And then she started to live again. She was laughing again. She's talking. She's still with us now. And for me, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to share this with so many more people. Like people need to know this. And so that's where the journey into herbalism began. And then I started to study it more and more. And I was like, I need to share this with more and more people.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, what a beginning of it.
Right?
And so then you began helping people with that. How was the
That's
transition into the business space and everything that you're doing now?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So what happened was, interestingly enough, I did thousands of consultations. Like my business really took off and I was super thankful for that. And I got it to a point of being able to leave my corporate executive position all through health coaching. But I also noticed so much similarity. A lot of the times when it comes to healing, many of us think external, how I'm eating, how I'm exercising, all of this stuff. But I noticed such a pattern between all of the inner stuff. My marriage is falling apart. I remember the last time I was properly intimate or had a date night with my husband, or I'm on survival mode and I'm bottling so much up. I haven't spoken to my mom in like 5 years, like just so many other things that I would dig into because people would expect to just be like, here's a plant for an ill mentality. And I was like, that's no different than the pill for an ill mentality. I want to get to the root cause, right? And I realized a lot of the times the root cause was not just what you're putting into your body. It was so much more than that. And so I started to speak a little bit more on that.
Mm-hmm.
And people were loving it. And then eventually people were like, okay, but like, I don't even know how to start a business. Like, you're doing what you love. And I feel like passion and purpose has so much to do with our fulfillment.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have to build a 6-7 figure empire, but just that progression to doing something that you know you're called to do is such a big part of our health.
Yeah.
And so I naturally started to talk about that. And then people were like, I want to know how you did it. And then so I was like, okay, wait, I built it. I did it. Let me just share that with people and how I did it as well. So it just kind of naturally kept evolving.
Wow, that's amazing. And it goes to show how it's not just about the tacticals or the things that you need to do. It's all about the mindset and how you're doing it and the energy that you're putting in. And I know you are very much a believer in the energy and how that affects us. So tell us how you guide clients, because obviously then you started supporting people that way and developing your own system on how to do that. So when somebody comes to you and they are struggling, just like what you said, with relationships, these other things that very much affect the business, but it's not like build this funnel here. This is how you do a sales call. So how do you support clients when they come to you with those issues that are affecting their business growth?
Yeah, so we actually go through like the wheel of life with them, which we created our own version because it's like 4 pillars. And it's like there's your inner world, there's your relationship and connections, then there's your lifestyle and well-being, but then there's the vision and legacy. And so we really are rating, because a lot of the times I say the magic happens in the work that we're avoiding. So it's like we think that I have to put all my energy into the business, but not realizing that if your inner world or your relationships or your well-being is being compromised, that bleeds into it. And so it's really about getting very clear on where you are and how you're rating it and saying, okay, this is how, like I said, it's like leading your life like a business. So what systems do I need? What time management do I need? What strategies and rhythms do I have to create so it flows? And then essentially you see the success in both of them. And it's the same system in both.
That is so good. And that's why you talk about being the CEO of your life, right?
Exactly.
The same way you would fix something that's not going well in your business, you can apply that to your life. Can you tell us more about what breaking free from the matrix mentality means to you? I would love to hear on that.
So, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the matrix, it's so cliche or it's conspiracy, but my mindset is, as women, we have been so conditioned to being prim and proper and meet everyone's expectations, and external validation is such a big one, Marta. We're taught this external validation, which I feel is systematic programming, because at such a young age, it's like, get the good grades and that's how I get the thank yous and you're doing amazing and all of that. And then at our home life, it's the same thing, right? Oh, good job, good grades, all of the stuff. At your work, performance reviews, all of these. So we're constantly programmed to have this external validation, never taught the inner trust, the self-trust and the confidence that we genuinely need. And so when I think about breaking free from the system, I truly believe that means not being dependent on anyone to really say, this is how your health should be managed. This is how your relationship should be managed. This is how your inner worth and your self-worth and your confidence should be managed. And this is how your finances should be managed. Because I believe as long as we're constantly dependent on an outside entity to tell us how to live, then we're not really living to our full capacity. Just for me, it's like, okay, it's between me and God. I'm co-creating with God, regardless of what someone does. Now, that's not to say that everyone can go and quit their job tomorrow and do all the things. I worked in the corporate world for 4 years while I built my business. But it's about knowing that I'm working towards being more and more, self-reliant in so many beautiful ways.
Oh, I love that you focus on helping people rely on themselves, but also rely on their faith. Because many times when we're in the coaching space, people start becoming codependent of their mentors and their coaches, right? I don't know the answer to this, so I need to ask my coach, or I need to hire this other person. And yes, we need mentors. We can kind of tip the scale all the way over to the other side from not having anyone to support you, from being codependent. Can you tell us more how faith, because you mentioned co-creating with God. So I'd love for you to expand on that.
Yes.
Even though,
to be honest with you, I think I love that you mentioned how dependent people are on their mentors. And I think every single person needs a mentor. That's what helps us gain those new perspectives and help us see things in ourselves that we didn't see ourselves. I think it's important, but that's to help us see and improve, not to depend and say, okay, well, what do I do now? Right? For me, faith is everything, because I have gone through points in my life where I hit such a breaking point and I was forced to surrender. And then I started to learn a lot of we want to be in such control of our lives. And I do believe that you should be in control of the parts of your life that you can control. And the rest is leaving it to him. So it's like focus on the what and leave the how to him. And so many people are like, but how's it going to work out? How am I going to get my money back? How's my health going to improve? How? Instead of just saying, wait, there's something so much bigger than me that's helping me create the how, but I have to take that inspired action and keep showing up, right? So there's a difference between, I can't stand some of the new age manifestation where it's like, just read your affirmations and it's going to help, but I'm sitting down and I'm doing nothing. That's not how it works. You co-create. It's like, okay, I'm going to show up. I'm learning, I'm developing, and I know that God is just creating the path because then I'm going to lead to where I need to go. So it's like, and it makes it so much lighter.
Yes.
It just makes it easier and lighter, not so like stressful, because when you're trying to handle the whole world by yourself without putting faith or trust in a higher force, it's heavy. It becomes a lot, and people have anxiety and all of these things.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you said that it's not about just sitting and waiting. It's taking action at the same time that you're also surrendering and surrendering the how, right? But you're still taking steps.
Exactly. That's right.
And I think sometimes, again, the extremes. People are like, I'm not going to do anything, or I'm going to do everything, and I'm not going to leave room for God to help me. I love that so much. Well, I've been muting myself a little because I have kids home and they're making a lot of noise. And I know that you talked about we get to have it all. So I'd love for you to expand on that a little bit, because oftentimes, especially as women and as moms, we have this idea of I'm going to have to sacrifice here and there. And that means obviously in some ways organizing your time a little bit differently and being more intentional, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait until the kids are out of the house. Talk to me about that, because I truly believe in that too. Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
It's crazy because I hear it all the time when I have more time, when the kids are back in school, when the kids are out of school, when the kids, everything. And it's kind of like, no, time never just appears. You have to create the time. And once again, when I talk about breaking free from the system, it's because we're so conditioned in this scarcity mindset. But when I talk about scarcity, I'm not just talking about money scarcity, which is one thing, but it's like the time scarcity, the energy scarcity. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. And then you're just creating less and less time, which is funny because I feel like I have more time now as a mom of two, running a business and doing all the stuff than I did before kids, working corporate, because of the mindset. I think a lot of people, what happens, especially if they're looking to say build a business and they're like, I don't have the time. And it's like, well, you can start with 18 minutes a day. You definitely have 18 minutes a day. Everyone has 18 minutes a day if it matters enough for them. Because I would say 18 minutes a day is 100 hours a year. That's a lot of freaking hours, right? To do something that you're progressing towards. So it's like finding those micro moments. But what happens is in order to do that successful, like how I'm able to manage motherhood and do all of those is I don't put so much on how much time I'm spending with my kids. I focus on how much quality time I'm spending with my kids. Because I can spend 3 hours with them and 2 hours I'm thinking about everything that I have to do, or I'm on my phone and I'm distracted. And that's not, they feel that versus, okay, it's okay if I spend an hour or two here and then an hour here, but I'm so devoted that I'm enjoying it. And then I don't feel the mommy guilt the same way.
Right.
And that's a big piece, right? It's like that mom guilt. If I'm not doing these things, then I feel guilty that I'm not in my role, especially for the stay-at-home moms or the ones who are working 9 to 5s, and then they don't want to build anything else because they already have so much time away from their kids. So it's at the end of the day, what helps me the most is future pacing. What am I building and why am I building it? If you're working in a 9 to 5 and you're not working towards something that can help you leave that 9 to 5, then you're always going to be really compromising time with your kids. And if you're that stay-at-home mom that like wants something for herself, because I see that a lot, it's like, I just want something that is for me, right? And then that's another beautiful thing. So you do have time for everything. It's just a lot of times we think that we have to spend hours on every part of it without realizing that there are seasons where I'm going to be spending more hours in the different parts.
Yeah. Well, and at times it's also insecurity. And so we extrapolate, right? I can only do this if I spend 3 hours and I don't have 3 hours, therefore I can't do it. And you just said 18 minutes, right? That amounts to 100 hours. It's if you really want it bad enough. find the people and also the thoughts that will support you with that. And I love that you
That's
said about
right.
having a vision. If you're working a 9 to 5, then what is the vision for this? Well, where are you going with this? And the same thing for the business too. We have to think about the future and what we're trying to build. Do you have any client stories that come to mind? Because I always love some illustrations, and I love that you're sharing yourself as an example. But maybe a mom or somebody that you were been able to help with in getting into that CEO mentality?
Yeah. So, I mean, so many examples. There's one client, for example, that I could think of who just kept feeling like, and actually, I could think of two clients with similar situations where it's like they just felt like, I'm feeling so stuck in my business. I'm doing everything. I'm showing up on social media. The sales are not coming in as much as I'd want to. Like I went through 1 week with having good sales and now it's not. And it was kind of always that same discussion. And then what's crazy is we uncovered that both of their relationships, like their intimate relationship, was not good at all. Like they're fighting at home, they're having issues, all of the stuff. And I was like, that bleeds into your business. Of course, you're not motivated, and that energy when you're posting on social media comes with you. And so I think for me, I've learned so much about relationships. I grew up in an abusive household. I grew up in a lot of toxic relationships because of what I knew. So when I learned to have more self-love and how to develop that healthy kind of love and then marry my best friend kind of thing, I it's I would like to say I'm really good at learning communication. And so I would teach them and say, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to approach the conversation. This is really important that you make this amount of time for you guys, because obviously there's something that's happening there. And one of them, like within 1 week, she's like, it's crazy how it was like a small fix. And like, we're better. And I'm feeling so much better in our marriage and all of this stuff. Another one was like, oh, we finally had a date night after like what probably felt like a year since they had their child. Right. And these are so important that people don't think it is, because it's just, you're so used to your relationship. But I don't care what anyone says, your intimate relationship is one of the most important ones, whether you're single and looking for it or you're married. It's so important. And so that's a really good example of, I can teach you the systems in business that work, but if something else actually needs your attention, which is why I said the magic happens in the work that you're avoiding, everything else just falls into place. Or I'm feeling so guilty, I'm not spending time with my kids. That's another one too. Like one of our clients, Maria, she would feel so bad because she's like, I don't have the help and I'm with her. And then I feel bad because I'm focusing so much on my business. I got her to actually break down, like do a 48 hour, everything that she was doing in a day time audit. I want you to literally log everything that you're doing in a day. How much time do you spend with your daughter? How much time do you actually spend on your business? How many times are you cooking, cleaning? Full blown like time audit. And she was like, oh my God, I spent a lot of time with my daughter. Why am I feeling so guilty? I said, because you're not juggling it all well to feel fulfilled in each part of it. Right. And so sometimes just literally putting it on paper helps you realize I am doing it all already. Why am I putting so much pressure on myself? And how can I better arrange it so I actually feel good about it?
That's so good. I love the time audit. And I think a lot of it too, sometimes it's pressure from other people in our lives that think things need to look a certain way. And then we compare with other people, maybe, the highlight reel on social media, and think I'm not doing that great of a job. So having somebody to reflect back to you, like yourself, as a mentor, that is so helpful. All right. Well, I love what you're doing with clients. Now I want to know, how exactly do you work with clients? I know you have a few different offers for someone listening, being like, I want to be the CEO of my life, not just my business. How do you do that?
Yeah, so we just launched our brand new community literally a month ago. It's the She's Empowered community, which is exactly that, helping you become the CEO of your life, where we support you. We've got from curriculums, and I like to say it's not just a course or a program or a PDF, like it's actual hands-on support. We've got calls, we've got curriculum, we've got open discussions and ask questions through all of this. But most importantly, it's also like a sisterhood where I'm able to be like, oh my goodness, there's so many other women that are on the same path as me. Okay, I don't feel alone in this space. So the She's Empowered community that we just launched is the main place where people can work with us, and they're able to join from anywhere in the world, obviously.
Nice. And this is a monthly commitment, a monthly community that they can join at any time.
Exactly. And there's no minimum commitments. Obviously, you cancel anytime, but our idea is like you love it so much that you want to stick around.
Yeah. I love that. So good. And we can find more information on your website as well. Do you have any resources for people that are just wanting to kind of get their toes wet and know a little bit more about your work and what you do?
Of course. Yeah. So actually, I was thinking about it right before this call is I have this really awesome it's a Power Pillar audio series. And it's something that I created for premium coaching, which is like almost like a mini podcast, just like, like a 10-minute get into the zone.
Nice.
And it worked so well. So I'd love to give that to your listeners.
Yeah.
All they have to do is just DM me on Instagram, CEO Empowered, so that I know it's, of course, coming from your podcast. And that's it. I'll happily send it over to them. They can listen to it for free and kind of learn a little bit about how I speak, how I teach, all of that stuff as well.
I love it, which by this conversation, hopefully they'll get a taste of how amazing you are and how you can support them. I love that. Well, I'll have you share a little bit more about how people can connect with you on social. It looks like you're present on Instagram and they can find you there. But before, I like asking all of my guests my $1 million question. Are you ready?
Of course.
So, Tania, what is an empowered woman then to you?
An empowered woman is a woman that genuinely wakes up and goes to sleep so grateful and happy. Like, I feel like you are empowered when you're like, I'm happy in every part of my life. Like, I'm happy in my relationship. I'm happy in my relationship with my kids and my motherhood. I'm happy in my mission. Like, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And thank you, God. Like, to me, that is true empowerment. And I don't mean you have to necessarily have it. You will get that same feeling when you know you're progressing towards it too.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. And if you're not feeling that, just like what you said, you get to be there, right? You get to work towards that, and you are the person that can help. That can help with that as well, along with your community. So tell us how we can connect with you. Instagram, where else are you hanging out these days?
Honestly, across the board, I'm Tania the Herbalist.
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, my website, taniatheherbalist.com, TikTok. I just launched TikTok. But yeah, across the board, you can pretty much find me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today and encouraging and empowering women out there that they get to live their best lives in all the areas of their lives. That is so encouraging.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Marta. Of course, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.